Hello everyone, welcome back. We'll continue our discussion on Python language basics. So far we have covered introduction to Python and the data types, that is number and string. In the current session we'll start with list. This is a complex data type in Python and will be used very frequently. This is a very useful one. It is similar to array that we have used earlier in C or C++ languages. Okay, I'll show you how to use it and what are the functionalities of list. So it can be written as a list of comma separated values between square brackets. Okay, there can be multiple items in the list, and the items may be of different data types. It's not always required to be all integers or all floating point numbers or all characters. It can be of different types. I can mix. Okay, lists can be indexed and sliced. We have already covered that how indexing and slicing are done for strings. So similar things can be done with this list also. And list supports operations like concatenation, so concatenation is possible. And there is the difference with string that list are a mutable type, so you can change any value in a list and you can add new values to the list as well. There is no restriction. And also nested list is possible. That means I can have a list of lists. So list within a list is also possible. So these are the main characteristics of list. So we'll go to Jupyter Notebook and we'll create some list as hands-on. Okay, so now I am in the Jupyter Notebook. So here you can see in the first cell I have actually created 6 lists of different types. The first one you can see L1 equal to, just I have written the square brackets but there is nothing within it. So with this statement one list will be created and it will be an empty list. Okay, and later on you can add new elements to this list. How to do that I will show you. Then I have declared another list, that is L2. L2 equal to, in square bracket I have written 4 elements, 1 2 3 4. So you can say it's a list of 4 elements which are all integers. Then I have created another list L3. It is having 3 elements and you can see that I have first put 1 and then the character A, then 2.002. So here I am trying to create a list with different data type items. Then I have written L4 equal to L3. So here this assignment operator is actually what I am trying to do, that I am creating a new list L4 which will be a copy of L3. And then another statement I am doing L5 equal to L3 dot copy. So this is also something that L5 a new list will be created from L3, same as L3, but what is the difference between this, that I will tell you. In the next statement I have written L6 equal to L2 plus L3. So as I told you that concatenation of list is possible. So what I want, that there are 4 elements in L2, 3 elements in L3, and I want that this L6 list should have this 4 plus 3, that is 7 elements. So let us execute this statement. So this list of statements are executed. So if they are all successful, then these lists I can print. So here I am printing, I am just writing list 1 and comma and then the name of the list. So that way I have written these 6 lists. So let us print. Okay, so you can see list 1, that is L1, it is blank, that is what I am expecting. L2, L3, L4. L4 is a copy of L3. I have just done the assignment operator. So list 3 and list 4 are the same, and list 5 is also the same with list 3 and list 4. And list 6 you can see that it is like first there are the 4 elements of L2, then the 3 elements of L3, all are together 7 elements. Fine. Okay, then I will show you how to do the indexing. So indexing is same with the string that we have seen. So I can do the indexing which starts from 0 and then 0 1 2 3 so on, and if it starts with -1 means it will start from the last element of the list. Okay, so here I am printing L2 0, so L2 is this, L2 0, that means 1 should be printed, and L2 -1, that means 4 should be printed. So you can see 1 and 4 are printed here. Okay, next is slicing. So slicing is also allowed. So here I am doing from L3, I am printing 0 to 2, that means 0 and 1 element should be printed. Then in the next statement 1 and then colon, and in the right part of the colon there is nothing, that means it will start from the element 1 and then it will continue till the end. Okay, and then in the next statement you can see I am printing L3, and in the left side of the colon there is nothing, it's blank, and in the right side it is 4. So here it would start from the starting position of the list, that is 0, and it will continue up to 3, means just before 4. And in this statement, the last statement, you can see that I have only colon and there is nothing in the left and right part of the colon, so it should ideally print all the elements of the list. So let us see. So you can see here the first one, 0th and 1th element are printed. For the second statement it is printing 1 and 2. Okay, because there are only 3 elements, so 0 1 2, so it starts from 1 and then 2. Then here it is written 4, so anyway there are only 0 1 2, so all the elements are printed, and last statements also all the elements are printed. Okay, now here I'm just trying to modify the value of L31. Okay, so L3, you know, L3 is this array, so 1 and then A and 2.002. Now here I'm just trying to change this L31 to 3. Okay, and this L32 to 4. Okay, let us first do this part, I will do this later. So I'm just trying to change one element of this list L3. So you can see now that it was A earlier, now it is 3, so it is a mutable, that means I can always change the values in the list. Fine, then I can do that, I can put some range. Okay, so when I want that, okay, I want to change multiple values at the same time, that also I can do. So suppose 0 to 2. Okay, then I am just mentioning, okay, I suppose I write 4 comma 5. Let us have this print statement as well. So you can see that 0 to 2 means it will take the 0 and 1th element, and those elements are now replaced with 4 and 4. So earlier it was 1 3 2.002, now it has become 4 comma 5 comma 2.002. so that way I can change values in multiple positions at the same time. Okay, next is if suppose I want that I just want to remove the elements in some positions, that is also allowed. So if I write just like that, then what will happen, you can see that the list is now reduced in size. So now there is only one element because first two elements are removed. So that way also you can cut some portion of the list, that is also allowed. So everything you can do on the list, you can add any part, you can remove anything. Okay, fine. Next is this length function. So this function will show you the length of the list. So of course now there is only one element, so you can see that the length is 1. I can just change this to L4, so you can see, okay, not L4, make it L5. Why not L4, that I will tell you. So L5, the length is 3. Fine. Okay, now there is another function called append. With this function I can add a element at the end of the list. So now the list has only one element, remember. Now I am writing L3 dot append 10. So one more element is added. Then there is another function called remove of list. So I can write L3 dot remove, and if I write an element, then it will remove the first occurrence of this element. Okay, so let us add 10 once more. Okay, sorry, so I will write once more. So now there are two 10, so 2.00 to 10 comma 10, so that is the list L3. Now I will execute this function remove 10. Okay, if I execute it, you can see that there are two 10s, so only one 10 is now there. So what this function does, it first finds this element, the first position of this element, and it just removes that element. Not all the occurrences, it will remove only the first occurrence of this element. Fine. Okay, now here what I'm doing, I'm creating one empty list LST, and then I am defining one variable name n, which is equal to, I am now calling this input function. So you have already seen the print function through which we do the output operation, that is why we want to show something, and if we want to take something from the user, then I have to use the input function, and whatever the input given by the user, by default it is always a string. Okay, so but I want a number, so I just convert it to int here. So you can see here, first I call this function, and whatever will be the response from the user, that is the output from this function, that will be a string variable. So I'm just converting it to int here. Okay, so that's how it is written for the input operation. So here my purpose is that I want to take from the user that how many elements, that n, and then I have used a for loop. So this is a looping methodology that I will discuss in different part of the session. So for now just consider that here what I am doing, that if there are 5 elements, then I am just taking that input from the user, that those 5 elements, and then each element I am appending in this list, this empty list. Okay, so this list was empty, and I am calling this append function. With every element supplied by the user, I am just adding in LST. Fine. So let us execute this. So number of elements to be added, say I give it as 5. So now I have to supply the elements, so I am supplying the elements. Okay, so now this list is populated, this LST is populated with these 5 elements. Now I have another function called extend. So you have seen append function. Through append function I can append one element at a time, but if I have multiple elements to be added in the list, then I can use the extend function. So here in the extend function, in as input I am sending the LST list. So it has 5 elements. So let us execute this. So you can see that earlier I had 2 elements in the list L3. Now 5 more elements are added at the same time. Okay, so now it has total 7 elements. Fine. Now if I execute this method pop, so pop method is like if I mention this 0, let us first execute this. Okay, so in this method I have sent one argument called 0. So 0 is the position of the element. So here I have given 0, that means I want to remove the first element from the list. So that's why that element was removed, and you are getting this list. And if I don't give any argument, so now this is the current list, and if I execute pop once more, then you can see that it has actually removed the last element. Okay, so by default it will always remove the last element inserted in the list, and if you want to remove an element from a particular position, then you have to mention that index value here in bracket. Okay, so that is how pop method works. Then there is another method called insert. This method will take 2 arguments. The first argument is the index position, means exactly where you want to insert an element, and then the element you want to insert. Okay, so this is my current list, and if you execute this method, then you can see that earlier it was 10 1 2 3 4, now it is 10 comma 6 and then 1 2 3 4. So this 6 element 6 is added in this one position, means one index position in the list. So if you have a requirement that you want to insert a particular element in a particular position, then this insert method can be used. Okay, then there is another method called sort. So you can sort the list. So you can see that now the list is sorted 1 2 3 4 6 10. Okay, fine. Now if you remember that earlier I have done some copying. Okay, so I had done that L3 L4 equal to L3 and L5 equal to L3 dot copy. So let us now print this 3. So just copy. Okay, now if you print, you can see that list 3 and list 4 are the same, and list 5 is, it contains the original value in list 3. So whenever I have made some changes to list 3, it was always copied in list 4, but list 5 has no change, it was just the fast copy it had. So that is the difference between this assignment operator and this copy function. So if you want to have, whenever there is a change in the original list, the copied list should also be changed, then you should use assignment operator. And if you want that okay, that copied list should be independent, there should not be any effect on the copied list when there is a change in the original list, then you can use the copy method. But you have to remember that that is only for the single valued list, and this concept will change in the nested list. Okay, so for nested list we will discuss on that. So let us move on to nested list. Now I told you that nested list means it is a collection of list of lists. So you can see here that I have 3 elements in the list, and each element is also a list of 3 elements. So that's how I am creating L10. So let us execute this. So now list 10 is created. Okay, now I am importing one library module. So as I told you that there are a lot of modules are pre-written, that is the main strength of Python. So I have imported this copy. Okay, and from this copy library I am just using this copy method and deep copy method. So these are the two methods. What is the difference, I will tell you. So here what I am doing, this L10, from this L10 I am creating L11 and L12. L11, for 11 copying I am using this copy method, and for copying to L12 I am using the deep copy method, and I am copying from the same list, that is L10. Okay, so once the copying is done, I will just print this, all these 3 lists. So you can see list 10, list 11, list 12 all are containing the same list of lists, that is 3 elements, and each element is a list of 3 elements again. Okay, fine. So here I am printing the ID. So what is the ID? You can consider it's kind of an address, means where this actual memory location of this list. So you can see that these 3 are all different, right? 3 different values, L10, L11 and L12. So it's like a copy is created, it's not like the same location, same list is being referred, is that there are 3 different lists. Okay, but now I will print the ID of individual one dimensional list, right? Means L10 of 1 means this one, right? So this is L10 1, so this is L11 1, this is L12 1. So let us see how the IDs are printing. Now you can see that for L10 and L11 this ID is same. So maybe they are having the different addresses for the lists, but for the individual rows they have the same id for the first two, but for L12 it is different. Okay, so you remember that for L11 I have used a copy method, and for L12 I have used the deep copy method. So in the individual element wise it is using the same address. Okay, for L10 and L11. So now what I am doing, I'm just changing for L10 this 1 1 element. 1 1 element means this one. Okay, so it's kind of a two-dimensional array. So this is the first row, this is the second row, so that is, it is 1, and in the second row I am referring the second column, so it is 1 1. So L10 1 1, I am making it as 10. Fine. Now let us print the lists. Now you can see that list 10, this 5 is now changed to 10 as expected, but for list 11 also it is changed to 10, but for list 12 it is not changed. Okay, so what is the reason? Because these two, this L1 was L10 1 and L11 1, they are referring to the same address position. So when L10 has changed the value, this L11 is also referring the same location, that's why it is printing 10. But for L12 1, it is referring to some other location where the 5 value was copied, so that's why still it is showing 5. Fine. Now I am appending another element altogether, another row to L10. Okay, fine. After this I will print it again, L10 L11 L12. Okay, so after this append, so let us print. Okay, now you can see that this new row is only there in list 10, but in list 11 and list 12 there is no effect. Why? Because the main memory location for list 10, it is pointing to a location, and list 11 is pointing to another location. That's why list 11 does not know that it has some new row added. Okay, because the basic link is different, but when we had added some element within a row, then it has the same location it is referring, but as a whole it is referring to different locations. So that's the difference. Means when I'm appending a new row, then it is not affecting the copy operation, but when I am modifying a particular value in a particular row or column, it is affecting. Fine. So that's the difference between copy and deep copy. Okay, now I will try to implement this copy and deep copy in a one dimensional list. Okay, is a simple list of single set of values. So as usual all the three are same. Okay, now I will print their IDs. You can see all three are different. Fine. Now if I print this particular value, that is the same. Okay, particular values are mentioning the same, but as a whole the list having the different values. Now I am changing something in L20. Okay, L21, that means this 2 value I am just trying to change it with 22. Okay, after this change, if I execute this, you can see that this value is changed only in list 20, not in 21 or 22. Fine. So because their base address are different, that's why when you have changed something in list 20, it is not getting affected whether it's a copy or deep copy operation. Okay, now let us append some element also. So I execute both. Now if you execute, still this 23 is added here, but it is not affected in 21 and 22. So to summarize this, whether it's a copy operation or deep copy operation, If it is a single dimensional list, then whatever change you make to the original list, whether you add a new element or modify an element, then it is not going to affect the copied lists, okay, whether it is copied through the copy method or deep copy method. But if it is a nested list, then if you make some changes in the existing elements, means in the existing rows, then what will happen, the list created with copy operation will also have reflection of that change in the original list, but the list created with deep copy operation will not have any change, okay. So, and if you are adding a new row altogether in the original list, then its effect will not be there in the copied list, whether it's from copy operation or deep copy operation. So it is very important that you understand that how these functions work, so that based on your requirement you have to decide that which method you should use, okay. So that's how we can implement many of the methods and in the list, and how to use it I have shown you. So we'll complete it here, and in the next session we'll continue on the other aspect of the Python programming language, okay. So thank you